I'm Jacob with Very Good Knife Company. If you're new to this channel, welcome, and I'm happy to have you. I'm going to be doing some blade grinding today, and I'm going to be starting out with the surface grinder. But today we've got Wasps. Let's see, I'll just show you one of each. Wasps ADCRV2. I've got 4 of those. And then I've got Tradition Junior ADCRV2s. Got 4 of those. Adventure ADCRV2s. I've got 5 of those. And then I've got an order here, a roughneck. This is the one that got that sharpening choil in there. I saw a comment pop up. Who be that? Oh, it's Gabe. What's up, bud? How's it going? I'm just going to get into this and run with it. I don't know exactly how long I'll be here. I'll be here until that oven over there beeps, because it is 4 o'clock already, so. Alrighty. We'll just jump right in. Start with a 100 grit belt. Ceramic. And we'll go ahead and scrub all the sides. And then we'll do, we'll go ahead and do probably to 220. Then I'll run over and actually finish grinding the bevels out. Then we'll finish with the 400 on this. Unblock my vacuum plate. stubborn one. Always. There we go. Alrighty, let's jump to a 220 grit. Lock the belt here. There's 120. And here's 220. Well, there's a lot of new people in here, so I'll just do a reintroduction. What's up, everybody? If you're new to the channel, I'm Jacob with Very Good Knife Company. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Happy to see you. You stumbled into me doing a grinding session, and what I've been doing here is surface grinding, making sure they're nice and flat, and going ahead and finishing the cheeks, ricasso, the whole side of the knife. Then I'm going to go ahead and finish grind the bevels when I'm done with that. But we just did 220. I'm going to go ahead and do 400 on these 8 small ones, because those I won't be going back to anything below a 120. But on the, where's my 400? But on the big ones there, I'll have to go back to a 60 grit. So I'll just go back over them with the 400 after the 60 grit. I'll show you what we got here. Got a roughneck, that's an order. A rare one, because I never make them. Adventures, I got 5 of those. Everything that I'm doing today is ACRB2, everything. More adventures. And those are flat grind. But these ones right here is what I'm talking about. The Tradition Juniors and the Wasps. These are ADCRB2 as well. Those don't lack a whole lot of depth, and they don't lack a whole lot of rising on that cheek. So I won't need to go a whole lot. The Adventures, however, looking at from side to side, what I'm looking at is to see how far that cheek comes out, which is about here. This one's a little farther. That means it needs a little adjustment in the grind. But of course, we're finished grinding, and that's what we're doing here. So I'm going to just go ahead and run these first 8 on the 400. Those are all hollow grind anyway, so I believe I'll actually do this one as well, the roughneck, because it's hollow grind as well, and it'll be what's up, John? How you doing, bud? This one will not take a whole lot of work to get where I want it. The flat grinds heat up really fast, so I can't start out by taking a lot off with a too light of a belt, or else I'll heat them up. So I'm gonna run 400 over these, then we'll move on. That's a finish. Not on hand, but I make a lot of worn clips actually. Since you're here and you're asking, and Gabe was in here earlier, let me go grab a couple of things right quick. But I'm not a whole lot into the worn clips. I just don't do a bunch of real true worn clips. Some sheepskin and sack style blades. This one right here is designed by Gabriel of Last Huntsman Outdoors. He might still be in here, he might have moved on. Gabe designed this knife. I'm going to be doing a run of these It's close to a Wharncliffe, as about as I'm going to get. This one is actually a straight edge. This is the Falcon. This is my own. And then this is the Mantis. This is more of a sheep's foot. But I've done a good bit of Wharncliffe stuff. These are great knives. They are usually in 5/32 stock. Like I said, I'll be doing a drop of these on April 25th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. If you're not subscribed to the newsletter on the website, which is veryggoodknifeco.com, do so. But I'll be doing a drop of these all nitro V, and we'll be doing blue, red, and purple. That'll be cool. So, but since Gabe was in here, I'll go ahead and show it. Along with that Hawk drop, I'll be doing the other one of Gabe's designs, and this is the newest. This is the Eagle. It's got the same handle as his Huntsman, which we did back in October. It's pretty sweet. Not much for Wharncliffe. It's more like it's a Sax is what it is. Bringing Saxy back. This thing's pretty sweet. April 25th, I'll be doing a drop of these and that the smaller one of these. But anyhow, I'm gonna keep on grinding here. So now we're going to move over to the contact wheel and hollow grind. Finish all of these Tradition Juniors, Wasp, and this Roughneck. And we'll start with a brand new 120 grit ceramic from Combat Basics. So that's what I like to use. I like how long they last, and I like their prices too. I would like them better if they were cheaper. Okie dokie. Here we go, Pete. Start with that Roughneck. That one's getting warm on me, and I'm trying not to get it wet. Should have been using my dust bucket the whole time. There we go. Alright, that's all for the 120 on this step. Now I'll go ahead and swap over to a 220 aluminum oxide, and we're going to slow the speed down. We'll go all the way up to a 400 here, and those blades, these 8 that I'm working on here, 9 that I'm working on here will be done. Then we'll do the flat grinds. Before I get started, I'm going to break this belt in. Sometimes when these belts are new and they're fresh, when they get cut, they're die cut, not die cut, roller cut. And sometimes the edges will roll up. They'll curl up and they'll cause a smile in your grind, which I don't want. And you can get a lot of that out with taking all the crunch out of the belt, making it to where it's soft. And as long as your contact wheel is nice and flat, you won't have any more problems. So I've slowed it down, 220 grit, aluminum oxide, X-weight belt, nice and stiff. There's that bright, shiny 220. It gets better, but that's pretty nice. Hey Manny, how you doing, bud? That's all for the 220 on those. Now we'll run a 400 and they'll be done. Finished grinding, at least the Wasp Tradition Juniors and that one roughneck. But I do still have to do the front grind on that roughneck. And I'll disclose that. I'll show you how that's done as soon as there's the oven. I said I'd go till the oven went off, but I'm not done. So for those of you who are new here, I'm Jacob with Very Good Knife Company. Good to see you, and I'm happy you're here to join us. You've stumbled into me doing a grinding session, finished grinding some ADC RV2 blades. I gotta go over here and grab these blades out of the oven right quick. Shut this thing up so as not to have to listen to it anymore. And all we've got in here is the First Strike, some Revelations, and a Tradition. Those just finished their first drawback, and they're nice and hot. So they've got to go for another drawback, but that's not going to happen today because I'm not going to be here for 2.5 more hours. So I'm just going to keep on finish grinding until I at least get until I at least get these at least these 8 or 9 done here. And I might take off after that. I might not. It depends on if I hear from the missus. So, 400 grit. Birdie. And they'll kind of heat up quick with the 400 grit, so I'm just going to do one side at a time. Now I've got to do the swedges and all the shoulder cuts. Just like this. Children. There we go. All right, so that's all for those guys. They are finished blades. Now, there's some differentiating angles of scratches, like when I'm moving and curving. Those throw off those little weird lines. All of that will blend together with the final finish, which is a Scotch-Brite belt, and that only happens when the rest of the knife is done. The handle's on, and that's like the last step for the whole thing. And then, of course, sharpening. So, there's those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then this dude, this one's 400 everywhere except for this little front flat grind piece. This is a compound grind, so it's hollow here, and it's flat up front. Gives you a whole bunch more tip strength and still gives you that super slicey razor edge of a hollow grind. And I'm gonna go ahead and swap this wheel out. I'm gonna change belt speed. It's easier to do with time. I'm gonna jump back up to a 120. Actually, I'm gonna run back up to a 60 grit. I'm gonna do a 60 grit for these adventures. Because these big, wide, flat grinds, the tall grinds, they heat up pretty quick. And I've still got a good bit to take off, so I don't want to torch them. They're heat treated now. All right, 60 grit on these adventures. And you can see this cheek being longer, having been surface ground. You can see this one ends about right here. That right there is the result of a little out of straight, which is why we surface grind them. So now the spine is super straight, and it's not super far. If it was way out of straight, then that grind would come all the way to the tip. But there's enough room on there to straighten them out. That's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna be bringing that cheek back up to somewhat closer to that. And even this one's a little low, a good bit low, but that's what we want, of course. So what we're gonna do is 60 grit, and I'll do 120 grit. And then I'll go to the surface grinder and go ahead and take the sides down to 400, and we'll do 220, 400, and they'll be done as well. right, that's 60 grit for all of those. Now we gotta go to 120. Pop that old 120 out that we just did all those other ones with, because it should make it through these. And of course, the less you have to take off with each belt, the easier it's gonna go with each belt. Hot. That's going to be all for the rough part of that adventure cycle there. Now I'm going to slow the speed down, and I'll go ahead and put on a 220 grit belt. But I'm going to go ahead and surface grind them to 400 before I do that. Clean up some of that melted belt thread off of the back so it doesn't interfere with our grinds. Our grinds are a direct reflection of what's behind the belt. Flat grind, flat platen. Hollow grind, round contact wheel. If you've got wavy grinds, you've probably got junk on your platen or an uneven contact wheel. So that's why I use the razor blade to scrape all that burnt belt thread off, because the backing of these belts is essentially cloth. And as they get hot, they'll melt. Alright. I'll do the same procedure with this belt as I did with the other ones, and that is to break the belt. These belts, when they are cut new, the edges will kind of curl up. I don't want that because it'll leave a smile. It's not flat. So what I'm doing is taking the crunch out of it. Maybe you can hear that. That's all I'm doing there. All right, so we're gonna swap over to the surface grinder and do that 400 finish for these 5 adventures here. All right. Now we can go ahead and finish these 220 and 400 on the bevels. Swap around. And we just set our 220 belt up, so run right into it. Haven't got warm on me. Come back to this. more step. One more step. And I've made it to the end of the line. Right where I wanted to be for the day. Wednesdays are my finish grinding day, whether I actually can make that happen or not. Sometimes it's been on Thursdays. But Wednesdays are my finish grinding day. Usually, if I don't have it accounted for as a finished blade by the end of Wednesday, it's probably not going to get finished for a drop on Friday. And I can't guarantee it, but I think I'll be able to drop all these and get them finished before a drop on Friday, maybe Saturday. Only one of these hear that little crunching? Might be satisfying to you. Excuse me. So, all of these except for this one are unaccounted for. These are just random runs. So, I should be able to get them done for a drop this weekend if you're looking for a knife. Or if you're in here wondering if I actually sell knives, I do. All of those are for sale. Finally, at last. Oh, we've made it through. We have made it through. Not bad, 2 hours for, let's see, 8 plus 6, 14 knives. Full finish grind on 14 knives in 2 hours. I'm happy with that. Now all I got to do is demagnetize, and I'll sit here and watch and see if... Let me go back through the comments too. Bluminati Ninja, Leroy Clerks, New House Keylock, Steven's here. Steven's always here. I don't even need to look in the chat. I know Steven's here. Amaya Fernandez. What's up, buddy? All right. I'm going to go ahead and demagnetize these and start closing out. So, what's up, Zachary Schmidt? How you doing, bud? Good to see you. I've just finished up. You've probably been in here a minute. I've just finished up with finish grinding on all these ADCRV2 blades. And I should be able to get a good bit of these, if not all of them, done for a drop this weekend, I hope. May not happen though. We've got a good bit of work to do at the new house, which is just fine with me. So all I'm doing here, if you're just not popping in, I'm demagnetizing, I'm degaussing blades because they were on the magnetic holder for the surface grinder. What happens is they'll get a little warm and hold that magnetization, and I won't really notice it until I get all the way down to the end and go to sharpen, and all that super fine powder will boil up it'll build up on the edge, and I won't be able to tell where my edge is. I won't be able to see that burr form. See, like all that junk on the edge right there. That's kind of hard to see. It's just a bunch of fine powdered carbon steel is all it is. I wish I could collect it all and put it in cans. You can use it for forging. But there's no way for me to ever separate what is... Well, I mean, once you get enough, you can smelt it down and the impurities will come to the surface. But I ain't about all that crap. See, like this one's got some black junk hanging out on there. All that's just dust. It's powdered ADCRV2. So all these blades have now been 400 grit finished all the way around every surface. And the last finish that goes on those blades is going to be Scotch-Brite. I use a blue Scotch-Brite, which is like a medium fine. It's about equal to a 400 to 600 grit finish, depending on how you use it. There is a trick that I'll show one day for polishing up blades with Scotch-Brite. But that doesn't get done until the handles and everything is finished, which we'll do maybe starting tomorrow. My goal is to do a live stream. The Scotch-Brite wheel is absolutely something else. You know, the Scotch-Brite belts are 20 bucks a piece. They're actually like 24 bucks a piece now. And back at the Two Jakes shop, my old man was pretty rough on them, and we would go through about 20 a week. And it's careless to use them that way, because if you treat them right without abusing them, you can go a whole 2 years on 4 of them. Actually 3 of them, because I ordered 4 of them when I started in March of 2021, or not 21, 23. March of 23. I ordered 4 of them, and I'm still working on those 4. One of them is still unused. But I'm not doing the same things that we were doing at 2 Jake's place. The Scotch-Brite is amazing, though, because it'll take all these minor imperfections and blemishes in the steel, or not in the steel, in the surface, and they will blend all that together and make it an even bright satin finish, which is really amazing. I'll go ahead and show you. I'll just go ahead and show anyone who's really that curious. So this is my, I have 3 different, what's up, mamacita? All right, I got 3 different ones that I use, and they are all 3 designated for a purpose. They don't get mixed up ever. They are never mixed up. They are always for their purpose. This one on the right, you can see it's got that darker, junky look to it, but it's a little light. It's also super thin because it's worn all the way out. It needs to be replaced. But every knife from Very Good Knife Company, every single one of them that has been marked with Very Good Knife Company has been touched by this, all of them. It's made it that far. We're, let's see, I made 400 knives last year and 300 the year before. I've made well over 100 this year already. So that's a lot of knives for one belt. This belt right here is full of plastic from Kydex, and that's all it does is Kydex. It finishes Kydex. Now it looks the cleanest here between the 3. That's just because the Kydex doesn't tear it up the same. I might not ever change this belt. Who knows? I feel like it'll last forever. But all the sheaths, every sheath that has been done from Very Good Knife Company has touched this belt here. And then lastly, this is the thickest and most still rigid and closest to new. And it's also shiny. You can see that sheen on it. That one only touches steel, ever. Now, the difference between these 2 is marginal. This is the handle belt. This is the final finish belt. And this is the steel belt. So if I have bevels that are flat bevels, I finish them with this belt. Hollow grind bevels, sometimes I'll finish with this belt if I can't really get in there the way I want with this one. But for the most part, hollow grind, like when I'm finishing the handles, the last wheel that I use to finish with is that 10-inch grinding wheel. So I'll go ahead and hit those hollow grinds if they're hollow ground, and those will be finished. But since we're on here, I'll show you a little trick. I don't care. I don't mind to show them. There's a whole bunch of knife makers out there that are just stingy with their secrets, and I'm gonna tell you, you ain't the first one to do it. You're not the first one to do it. You're not the only one doing it. You're not going to be the only one that ever does it. And even if you keep it a secret, doesn't mean that nobody's ever going to figure it out unless you know for a fact that nobody's ever done it. It's almost impossible to find anything in the knife making or anything in the world that nobody's done already. But specifically the knife making industry. If you can find something that somebody has not done already, and you know it, maybe keep it to yourself. But I learned the whole polishing trick with a Scotch-Brite belt from another knife maker. No reason for me to keep it to myself, because he did not. So I'll show you what they look like when they're finished. If I choose to take them to a slightly higher polish, then what I'll do is I'll actually use my slick and shiny steel belt, and I'll hit it with a buffing compound. And it's got just a little bit of white buffing compound left on there now. But what that does is it acts like a polishing abrasive inside of a polishing abrasive wheel. So you get the best of both worlds. And then that is what it looks like. That's the finish. See, it's pretty close to that. Of course, it's got some fingerprints and some dust and junk on it. But that right there is way, 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 way higher So I have a cardboard wheel. I don't like them because they'll heat up things really fast. I noticed that I started burning edges because I wasn't paying attention. I haven't used it in a long time. I've never done any of the very good knives with a cardboard wheel. I use the cloth wheel. And the cardboard wheel is really nice. I will say that it is really nice. The best thing about the cardboard wheel is how abrasive it is. So what you can do, instead of finishing to like a 400 grit edge, which is what I do, you can finish to like a 180 or a 220 grit edge, and the cardboard wheel with the right compound will polish it out faster. My issue with that is, personally, and this is kind of controversial, but at the same time, it's science. When you look at the edges under a microscope, and a lot of you guys, if you're here, you already know this. The edges, the teeth on the edges will, you're going to need to get those burrs and those teeth lined up, right? What happens is when you polish your edge super shiny, or strop it too much, what you'll do is you'll polish those teeth off. And it'll be like excessively massive sharp for a short amount of time. Like razor sharp, the kind of shaven sharp, and then it'll feel like the edge gets slick. Now, it's not necessarily dull per se, because if you whack something with it, it's still plenty sharpened enough to destroy it. But as far as like dragging through straps and whatnot, it'll feel like it's slick. If you polish the edge too much and you polish all those teeth off, which a cardboard wheel has a tendency to do, then it just takes longer for you to get the edge back the way it needs to be, because you're taking off too much material. That's why I use the soft buffing wheel, because I just barely lick it and it'll take the burr off without polishing it too much. Now, it will polish it as much as you want to polish it. You run it across there too many times, but not too much of a problem. So today, guys, we finished up adventures. We finished grinding adventures and an order for a roughneck. These are really cool blades. Nobody likes them. At least nobody that doesn't have one likes them, because they are my second least most popular blade. And in terms of like a utility blade, I think they are unbeatable. In fact, all the Kydex is cut with a roughneck, because of that little doohickey right there. That tan toe edge. And then we also finished up some Tradition Juniors, ADCRB2, and some Wasps in ADCRB2. These guys got the little swedges. Awesome looking little swedges. Alright guys, that is all that I have for you today. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. As always, this live stream and all my videos are brought to you by Sweetman's Plumbing. If you are in the Northeast Georgia area and you need the greatest plumbing service that ever did exist, give them a call and get a sweet deal. 770-538-0727. I appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate, if you're new here and you're just now joining in, I appreciate you being here. Welcome to the channel. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and it'll let you know when I go live. I do as much lives as possible. I appreciate you guys' support. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good one.